From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your evening update.
Good evening, everyone. Even though those temperatures are dropping, it's still going to be on the hot side over the next several days here, but we should, for the most part, stay below 100 degrees. And I say for the most part because there are going to be days when we're upper 90s, and that's going to be kind of flirting with that triple-digit mark. But let's get you through Kruger's Quickcast here to start things off here, and we'll start with tonight into early tomorrow morning. You know, despite the fact that it is still pretty warm during the day, we are getting those cool overnight and early morning lows. We're talking temperatures upper 50s, low 60s, a little bit warmer in some spots, maybe where those winds kind of stick around a little bit longer. But there you can see temperatures in the mid to upper 40s for some of the higher elevations and some low 50s in there, low 50s along the coast here for tonight. So again, for the most part, it is beginning to cool off in those overnight lows. Now, out the door tomorrow morning, getting off to work, getting the kids off to school, I think there will be some patchy fog on the coast, especially around places like Eureka tomorrow morning, but then quickly dissipating and evaporating before even the noon hour. So more sunshine for the coast through a good portion of the day. But temperatures upper 40s by 8 o'clock in the morning. For the mountains, mainly in the low 50s, some of those higher elevations in the upper 40s, and then right around 60 for those temperatures at about 8 o'clock in the morning. All right, so here's your forecast for your Friday. Temperatures, look at that. We're mainly in the mid 90s for your daytime high. So again, we're really starting to steer away from those triple digits, more in the 90s. So yeah, still hot, but at least it's away from those triple digits. Temperatures, mainly in the 70s, some 80s in the higher elevations, and those low to mid 60s along the coast. All right, let's go and take a look at that quick 7-day outlook region by region. We start off with the valley. Those temperatures are going to be in the mid, you see how it's kind of going up and down, and then eventually we really work our way down to the mid to upper 80s by next Wednesday and Thursday. So much cooler near the end of next week. For the coast, temperatures in the mid 60s for the next several days, but I do expect low 60s to return by early next week. For inland and Trinity County, back down to the 80s, possibly as early as Sunday, but most likely going into your Monday through next week as well. There's a look at your 7-day outlook for Siskiyou County, Modoc County, and the Eastern Mountains, mainly in the 80s, but I do expect to see those 70s return by the time we get into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So yes, cooler weather is on the way, but it's going to be a while before it actually gets here. So the big question is, are we finally done with the triple digits for this year? And most likely we can say yes. As I mentioned, there are going to be a couple of days, upper 90s, it will be close. But I think really we can pretty much safely say that the valley is going to stay below 100 degrees for the rest of the year. The next question will be the 90s, but we'll dive into that a little bit later. All right, temperatures, they're dropping, but still above average, with highs closer to normal as we go into the middle and latter part of next week. Now, there is a potential for some bigger changes near the end of next week, even some indications, maybe some wet weather, but at this point doesn't look too terribly promising, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. Do want to mention, though, that there's going to be some high fire danger off to the Modoc County and Eastern Mountain region. You'll notice the wind's not quite as strong elsewhere. And then by Friday, the winds do begin to die down. Still a little breezy, but certainly much calmer winds, which will decrease that fire weather risk. Now, the humidity, what we're starting to see is we're starting to see them tick up ever so slightly over the next few days, but still dry nonetheless. We take into Saturday, just barely above the single digits with the exception of Chico and Willows. We're getting into the upper teens for some of the eastern mountains. That will also help just a little bit, but again, even in the upper teens, that's still considered quite dry. So the fire weather risk here for 4 p.m. on Friday, mainly low to moderate for the valley, but we're starting to see more of that making its way into Lassen County and Modoc County. And then Saturday, mainly low fire weather risk. So again, conditions are improving a bit here as we go into the weekend. Here's a look at Futurecast. Now, the forecast models the last few days have been pretty aggressive, bringing in some clouds maybe even a few stray sprinkles and light showers for parts of, especially the southern portions of the area. But now that's even beginning to back off a bit here. So overall, mainly sunny skies. We may see a few clouds develop here just down to the south here. As we go into Saturday, kind of the same story. We were expecting to see a few more clouds rolling in, but for the most part, mainly sunny skies even on Saturday morning. Now, Saturday morning, there could be some fog developing around Eureka, but that'll probably quickly dissipate as we get into the noon hour. And then Saturday afternoon, again, just some of those high clouds kind of coming in just to the south, but for the most part, still plenty of sunshine for your Saturday. All right, let's talk about that chance for rain here in the long range, right? So here we are today. Now, what's happening is we got these storms riding to our north, and you can also see some of that subtropical moisture just kind of clipping to our south. But you see these storm systems got a big area of low pressure right here. And what we're going to see happen are these systems that kind of rotate around and kind of push eastward. Now, most of these storms, we are going to dodge for the most part. This is looking at a week from Friday. You can see some rain that's approaching, but unfortunately, it just doesn't look too promising that it's going to bring us a lot of rainfall at this point. The forecast models have been going back and forth, bringing in rain around Friday, Saturday of next week, right? And then taking it out, bringing it in, taking it out. So still some uncertainty there. However, the Climate Prediction Center getting a little bit more aggressive with the wetter than normal conditions in the longer range. I'm still not 100% buying it. It's kind of one of those wait and see type of situations, but there is some hope. We're starting to see these storms at least get closer to us, and that would indicate that eventually some of them may actually push through and give us that chance for rain. Switch gears. Let's talk about the temperatures and what that's going to do for our temperatures. So the ridge of high pressure that's been placed over the last few days, what that's doing is it's weakening. And the main area of high pressure over the desert southwest is pushing eastward, thanks to the storms riding to our north. All right, so let's take you into your Saturday and Sunday. We've got this big trough of low pressure, cold air that's associated with it. Now you can see as we go into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, really all through next week, you see how it's just slowly migrating in our direction. And it's also digging a little bit more to the south. So bottom line, even though I don't expect at least the confidence for rain is not very high, I'm feeling very confident that we are going to see significantly cooler temperatures as we get to the end of the week and into that next weekend. So let's take a look at the temperature outlook, still in that warmer than normal category, but looking at our 10-day trend, what we've got here are those temperatures mid-90s through next Tuesday, upper 80s. The normal high is about 85, 86. We'll be right around or just below that as we get into the end of next week and into that next weekend. So much cooler weather, more fall-like weather, which, because it is fall, right? It's going to feel more like fall. It's going to feel more like the season as we get closer to the end of next week. So hang tight. It'll eventually get here. We've just got to get through this first. All right? Okay, let's take a look at the wave heights. Tomorrow, the wave heights are starting to drop. Let's take you into Saturday, and you can see the wave heights. See, we got a system kind of coming up to the north. They'll probably increase a little bit here, but not enough for there to be any small craft advisories. So you can see there are no advisories. Winds from the northwest at 5 to 10 knots. Your waves from the northwest at 5 feet in about 11 seconds. All right, so let's take a look at our forecast for tonight. We've got those temperatures upper 50s to around 60. So yeah, cool night in store for us, clear skies. 40s and 50s for the higher elevations. Low 50s as we take you to the coast. All right, here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. It's starting to cool off a little bit. We're mainly in the upper 80s. Some of the warmer spots like Douglas City at 91, Weaverville 89, Ruth about 84 degrees. Getting cooler as we go into the long range as well. Central and southern Humboldt County, 86 Alder Point, 89 in Garberville. So the inland areas are getting closer to those 80s instead of 90, right? 88 for Orleans, 88 for Hoopa, right around 90 though for Willow Creek, and there's Gas Key about 81. Looks like Smith River about 70, Oryx 69, and those inland areas a slight increase Saturday, then back down, low 80s by next Wednesday and Thursday. Siskiyou County, we've got 86 for Happy Camp, 79 out in Ashland for our neighbors to the north in Oregon, 84 for Gazelle, Mount Shasta about 82, and Tennant about 76 degrees. Your Modoc County neighborhood forecast, Mainly in the upper 70s to low 80s, 77 degrees for Tule Lake, can be 80, California Pines 81, and Alturas about 82 degrees. Your eastern mountains, neighborhood forecast, 85 for Susanville, 84 in Janesville, 80 degrees for Fall River Mills and Viola, one of the cooler spots, at about 75 degrees for your Friday. And your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Walgamith Painting. You've got those temperatures in the mid 90s. 95 degrees for Corning, 94 for Hamilton City. You can see Willows about 94. Temperatures kind of going up, then back down. I mean, just these tiny little increases, tiny little drops, but then we see bigger drops going into the middle and latter part of next week. 90 for Whiskeytown as well as Lakehead, 94 in Bella Vista, 95 in Palo Cedro. That's also the case for Red Bluff and Cottonwood, a high of about 94 degrees. All right, so here's your 7-day outlook for Redding. So we're down to 95 tomorrow. A slight increase on Saturday back into the 97. Back down to about 95, 96 for Sunday, Monday, and then mid to upper 80s by Wednesday and Thursday. That's your evening update. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and live on Coffee with Kruger at 7 a.m. Have a good evening.
Barr & Mudford is a top established firm here in the North State. Founded over a half-century ago, Barr & Mudford is protecting the rights of our neighbors and community. We take our commitment to our clients very seriously and provide a level of excellence unrivaled in the North State. Barr & Mudford, standing up for the rights of our neighbors and our beautiful community, serving Northern California with excellence.